I want it back.
And they're getting more and more militarized as we go. I mean, obviously, that's why I posted that video on the Boston bombing and the way they searched those homes unhindered, without, and still, I don't see. I to this day, even after I put the video up, I knew there was gonna my video is gonna do anything, but I had to at least put my voice out there. Like, listen. This is not what I agree with. Most people are either too busy working to pay for the very legislation and laws and taxes that have been enacted to keep that person working, so their nose is to the grindstone and not looking above that grindstone. The other group that are not working, you want to keep, some of them are just free loafers and they enjoy just not working so they can just live as if they're retired and just live. And so they're not going to do anything to upset their way of life out of their own self-centeredness. So they're only going to see and vote based on themselves and what they're going to get out of it. So you got those group of people, which is now half the country. Then you have the other group of people who just don't care anymore. They just they expect the world to fall apart, and rightfully so, and we'll just pick up the pieces afterwards. Yet, if you study history, even in our own revolution, we almost were not succeeding in that revolution. If it wasn't for George Washington going and stopping the generals from marching on Congress, because they weren't happy that they weren't getting what they've been requesting, and they just weren't happy and disgruntled, and so they were going to overthrow the very Congress that they fought to create in our own Revolutionary War, and Washington stopped it. So even people are just fickle, and you see it in religion. Why there's so many factions of Christianity? Because men and women, people just have their own opinions, and that's that. So if you don't have commonality to link you together, then everyone's going to go off and start their own little groups. Once again, following the lines that I've talked about, power and pride. The two constants through history on humanity. You've got those groups of people that just don't care. Like all the conservatives, all the people that didn't even go out to vote. For the Obama election and Mitt Romney election. 300,000 people. Everyone's like, why did he win? How could he win with that record? And people apathetic. They just don't care. Or the anarchists who believe that once this all falls apart, everything's going to work out. Everyone's going to go into communities and we're just going to live happily ever after. Because the power and pride is going to work in any society. In a society that doesn't have structures or laws to at least keep things in somewhat general order, which is what we have, except now we're having the abuses of power, people going beyond the actual lines drawn based on our Constitution. That whole dynamic of power and pride is going to work even in the kind of Middle Ages, Dark Ages, which is what's going to happen. We're going to go into these little communities, as Hibernia said, men protecting the walls of these little communities and enclaves, little castle towns sort of thing, garrison towns. That's what it's going to turn into. And even in that society, there's going to be warlords. There's going to be people that are going to, just like what happened with the Mongols, eventually they're going to come in and swoop in and take what they want. And that's the type of society. People don't get it. I look at it as an historical sense, and I also understand that just because you want to think positive and hope for the best, you study history, you actually see the reality of the human condition. And I will say it again, it starts with pride and power. Those are the two things. And whatever means to use to enact that power, which is guns, money, and whatever commodity, I said in the last video, water, oil, whatever's used to help fuel that economy, to make that money, to create that power, to be enforced by guns, that is what will always be. Whatever the society is, that is what will always be. So in a grid down scenario, now it will be local community resources, which will be the things that people will fight over or hoard to contain and do anything to protect. I don't even know where this video is going. Like, I just went on like a tangent. It's totally coffee oriented, but really what the main thing I wanted to say is keep your eyes open. They're going to use every opportunity to encroach more laws, and now Obama's talking about executive orders. It's becoming more and more likely that they're going to create scenarios where you're going to have to break the laws to enact the very amendment that says you have the right to bear arms. That's really what they're leading towards. I don't even think they're going for the total ban. I mean, eventually we'll be banned on guns and collecting, but really what they're trying to do is really get the gun owners in between a rock and a hard place and get them into the position where it might force them to break laws, and then they can get caught. Or set them up to like that other, to me, he's an idiot. The guy that was going to march into D.C. with loaded weapons, and then he got arrested, and then he had all the drugs in his house, and he set himself up for that. And to me, I think he did more damage to the gun community. And he gave more fuel to those that are trying to take away the guns to flash over the video and TV and internet. So all these people that don't know any better, that spend their whole lives entertaining themselves to death, rah-rah football, and I'm watching my TV shows. Did you see the newest True Blood or Boardwalk Empire? Oh my gosh, those Kardashians, they're crazy. These are the things that they keep the people that are also working preoccupied with too. When you come home and you're exhausted, the last thing you want to do is check the news. You just want to sit there and vegetate in front of morally corrupt type of shows. That's what they want you focused on. They don't want you to focus on it. Or they want to get you so paranoid that you're afraid to even do anything about it. Or they're going to get you so paranoid to make you do something that's going to get you in trouble and get you thrown in jail because you're going to overreact. Or they're going to work up your emotions. And then with the animosity of the constrictions of the society that they're creating to box you in, it's going to make you freak out. So all these things, I think, are meant, yes, as the slow turning up the heat in the water for the frog in the pot. I hope this video made sense. I think I went all over the place, but and I think it's going to go into a part 1 and part 2, but it is what it is. Do your best. Let God do the rest, guys. Later.